I am excited for this next episode for you guys here today. We've got an amazing guest from here in San Diego, California, a local model and nurse and mom. She's really excited to be on our show here today because she's also a podcast listener of the 5 Minute Bark. Please welcome everybody, Krystle Rains. Say hello, Krystle.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, good. Are you excited to be here or what?
Very excited. It's an honor. Thank you so much.
We've only been through like 3 takes now. We've had audio difficulties, we've had video difficulties, and we've had now dentist difficulties.
We're doing just fine.
We're doing just
great.
fine. So we're ready to go here today, and we've got her on the show. And the reason I brought her on is because she really is a special person, and her life story is just absolutely really stunning, and she has a lot to share for my listeners out there, and we're going to get some of that out on her here today. And first off, I'm going to just let her kind of share her story and what she's all about and what she's done and her accomplishments, and tell people all about Krystle Rains.
All right. Well, I'm a single mom. My daughter is 8 years old, just turned 8. Her name is Riley. I've been a nurse for almost 8 years now. And I'm a model. My modeling career kind of just took off recently, more so than before. But I do all 3, and that's my life. That's my entire world.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you got?
Well, I've got a new great relationship too. But yeah, I live a pretty simple life aside from modeling. I think that lately my life has gotten a lot more intense, a lot more busy than usual. But it's great. I love it. I love where I'm going.
So life is easy for you. And sometimes I want to understand when you're a mom or a model or you're a nurse, there's a lot of stuff that comes into your life that's a little more complicated to deal with. But let's start off with the nursing. What made you want to be a nurse?
You know, it's been in my DNA since I was a kid. I've always wanted to help people. I think that I decided that I wanted to be a nurse when I was about 9. My great-grandparents were in a home, and I would go and take care of them and sit with them every day. And I just developed this huge love for taking care of people and being good to people. So I think that it's innate in me. It's part of who I am. And it's something that'll always be there no matter what I do.
You know, I didn't tell you this before, but I told you in the edit before, but I didn't tell you in real life yet. But I have 2 sisters they've been nurses. One's retired nurse and one's still doing it. And so I know how they are. They're very sharing, giving people. I see them with their kids and the people around them. They're very sharing and giving just like you are. So it's definitely a quality that nurses have. And, you know, it's always good to have nurses in our lives.
Right? There's a huge demand for us. It's growing exponentially, that area, just the medical field in general. So many job opportunities. It's great job security. You're always going to need a nurse for sure.
Always going to need it. Yeah, and there's good pay here, especially in San Diego, the traveling nurse thing and so on and so forth. But so what made you want to be a nurse?
It's just who I am. I've always wanted to help people. I've always felt like a personal reward was better than any other kind of reward. No matter how much money I make at the end of the day, I still don't feel as productive as I would if I'm not helping somebody personally. You know what I mean? It's a different kind of reward. And it's the only one that I appreciate and value as much as I do, you know? It's the only thing that really satisfies me.
Right.
So
you're one of those people that just really like to give and share.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
Obviously, nursing is one of those things, and also modeling, sharing as well, in its own way. Sharing, you know, sharing beauty and sharing design and sharing all that stuff. And
right.
I mean, it's not easy being a model. I've seen the runway stuff that you guys have to do.
No, it's difficult. You know, it's all balance. I think that I chose to start modeling more just because I really believe in my designer and what he does. And I needed balance in my life. In my job, I have very little margin of error. You know, I make a mistake and it's somebody else paying for it. And I wanted that balance of having a little bit more fun and having a little bit of leeway where you make one wrong step, it's not the end of the world, you know, and you can still have fun. You can feel beautiful and embrace yourself and do something different.
So how did you do your first model? Were you approached to say, hey, you should be a model, or hey, you should try this? Or did you just say, I want to be a model? And
you know, it's so funny because growing up my entire life, I always wanted to be a runway model. I admired them. I've always been told that I had the body, but I didn't have the appreciation for myself to really think that I could do it. My best friend's mom actually called. She is a beautician. She asked if I would help with a live runway for them. So I did one. And then Andre Soriano actually found me on Facebook and was very adamant about having me. He was persistent with me. I didn't have much faith in what he thought of me. But after about 2 months, I said, you know what? If this person that I don't know very well believes in me, why don't I? And so I kind of just gave it a shot. I changed my way of thinking, opened my heart to it a little bit more, and just gave it everything I had. You know, if you believe in somebody else, it makes it a lot easier for yourself.
Right. And I noticed that excuse me, but you're attached to him. Like he designed specifically for you, the outfits and so on and so forth. So you are kind of like not only just a model, but you also have a designer behind you and who you are and the designs.
Absolutely.
You guys really work together quite a bit. I mean, he even designed some of your clothes you wear on a daily basis.
Yeah. He's
not
actually,
just the dresses.
Yeah, he's one of my best friends. And I think that, I mean, it's an honor to have him take care of me the way he does. He's so phenomenal with his work. His designs are just so creative and so incredible. So beyond being a model, he's one of my best friends, you know. And anytime, like I said, you can incorporate nursing into modeling, because whatever he needs, if I can ever help, I do and I will. You know, I believe in what he's doing, and he makes incredible clothes and dresses.
I love it. I love it. And I've met him, and he really is an amazing person. He's really so fun to be around, and he's very passionate, very, very passionate.
So much of why he and I get along is because we both have huge hearts.
Right.
And we just want to, it's all about love and kindness.
Yes.
You know, at the end of the day, for everyone, it's free. Sprinkle it everywhere, you know?
He sprinkles it too.
Oh, he does. Oh, he does.
He sprinkles it quite a bit. So, all right. So one of the things I really want to dig into, and this is something we've talked about and kind of had you come on the show for, is being that you're in a model situation more often than not now. And I've also witnessed in social occasions where you've been misinterpreted as a person because of your good looks and because of your status or whatever with modeling and beauty, of course, that's attached to a lot of women, all women in their own different way. But the misinterpretation that comes with you, I mean, I notice you have tattoos. Okay?
Right.
So if you're, a San Diego young girl and you're wearing a baseball hat and, you're not always in a dress,
right.
you're going to be, looked at a different way.
Absolutely. It's so true.
And the misinterpretation that you've had, I've seen quite a bit lately, and like even at a gala here recently. And so tell us how you deal with this. I mean, this is a big issue that could, really hurt people in their feelings.
Well, I think that, every situation like that can be very emotional. Like I said, I had no margin of error before, so I needed balance. I wanted to work on my self-esteem and my confidence and stuff like that, which is a lot of the reason that I really got into modeling and gave it a chance. I thought that it would really help with that. And as much as those situations are difficult emotionally, I'm glad, because they help me grow. They help me learn about myself and about the world. I'm still so young.
Grow in what way?
I think not just personally, but socially. I've learned how to deal with other people better, without being as sensitive. I've always been very sensitive.
Can you give an example?
Let's see here. I think that a lot of the people that I've modeled in front of kind of look at me and assume that I'm one thing, assume that I'm so, into this world and so of high stature and the people that I surround myself with. But really, I'm just a normal person. And to have that judgment put on you can be difficult. It makes you question yourself sometimes, because we live in a world where we're constantly being told to not appreciate ourselves or to, we want to appreciate ourselves, but we constantly, I always take a step back and think about that. And that's what it's kind of helped me do. Still take a step back, but know who I am.
Right. So, obviously from the outside looking in, who you are, you're a model, you're a designer that designs things based on your personality and your body and so on and so forth. So from the outside, people are get maybe like a quick wow factor, right?
I think it's a little bit more shocking.
Yeah.
Some of the things that I've worn as far as modeling goes are just they're creative and they're one of a kind, and it's just a different style. There are some things that are a little bit smaller and a little bit more risque.
Right.
And I think that people pass judgment on that as well. But it just kind of comes with the world and appreciating yourself and loving yourself.
Right.
And if that's what I choose to wear, so be it. If you get those looks, you get those judgments, it's going to happen,
Yeah. So you also had an incident fairly recently where you were just in public and you were, going to the pool and you didn't have a way to get into the pool and your boyfriend left the key somewhere, so you jumped the fence, and all of a sudden authorities, so to speak, came by and said, attacked you basically, and didn't really say, hey, they were just attacking you verbally kind of, and
instantly,
and you dealt with it with charm. To hear the story is amazing.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Because definitely in that situation, and by no means it's not the person's fault. It's just the reaction that just happens in that quick moment that hey, this person's got a baseball cap on, got tattoos, jumping over my fence. What's going on?
Right. So
I mean, you were in the wrong, but
absolutely,
we've all done it.
Absolutely.
I can't tell you I've never jumped over a pool fence before.
Right. You know, I think that everybody does it at some point.
Yeah.
But it was more a matter, like you said, of being attacked. To have somebody just kind of hone in on you that quickly and just belittle you and question you and make you feel like you've committed a crime. In all seriousness, it wasn't that big of a deal, but I still took responsibility for it. And I think the beauty in that situation was really being persistent and being adamant about...
Persistent in what?
In kindness. I feel like sometimes when we're nice to people and we aren't received well or we don't get that in return, people just shut down.
Right.
And I am the opposite of that.
And that's a big key is just like you just said, shutting down, because you made that person really defenseless.
I really did.
And then did it again, and then eventually we're defenseless. It's like, I'm wrong. I jumped the fence. I'm sorry.
Well, you have to be humble, and you have to accept that we all make mistakes. You know, if you do something like that, you've got to own it. Own your actions, because if you own your actions, psychology states nobody can hold them against you. If you can overcome it, nobody else can hold that against you in your heart and mind.
Right.
So for me, it's just that persistence. Be kind. Be honest. Be yourself, and also make your intentions clear. Because I feel like, in that particular situation, she probably thought I was like breaking in or I wasn't supposed to be there. And beyond that, that wasn't my intention. So I profusely apologized, you know, and I did the best that I could to explain to her that that wasn't my intention. And it ended up working out. I think that I killed it with kindness. Right. And that's what I do in most of those situations. When I'm judged, I don't always explain myself right away. I don't feel like I owe everyone an explanation. But to the people that matter, or that it matters to me a little bit, it's worth explaining yourself just a little and reminding them of who you are and what you're trying to do as opposed to what they're seeing.
Right. My gut feeling, and I don't know much about you, and I kind of think when I think of you, I kind of think of that movie Pretty Woman. And you know, you come from East San Diego and you're living a very simple life, and now you're in a relationship that kind of requires more of galas and modeling and different things like that. And I know that's kind of like a whole different atmosphere to be around.
Whole different world.
Whole different world.
I've
different
surrounded
people,
myself,
people looking at you a different way. Whereas when you're back, you know, in East County or whatever, you're just another dude. You know,
I'm just wearing jeans and chucks and exactly.
But now you're constantly dressed up and different things. And
whole different worlds.
And you know, again, you're getting that situation where, I mean, this is a tough thing that a lot of people deal with. And I want to try to help them deal with that, because you deal with it brilliantly.
On a daily basis. It's stereotypes are something that I deal with every day, whether I'm in the grocery store, whether I'm modeling, whether I'm at the beach with my friends. You know, I just have that typical Southern California girl look, which I can understand and I can relate to because I enjoy that look. I'm okay with the way I look, you know, but it's more so who you are and what you're about. And people just have to decipher between the two. They've got to figure it out for themselves, you know. It's a hard thing to do, but I think...
Do you have any advice you can give to somebody that's dealing with that and how to deal with that? I guess just with kindness, as you said before, or...
Always kill it with kindness, but you have to go back to the basics and remember who you are at the end of the day. Remember that you can't please everyone, and you have to see it from their perspective too, so that you can kind of mold that kindness around what they're attacking or what they're belittling about you or what they don't appreciate, you know? You can kind of make and mold and target specific things. You just kind of have to dig a little bit deeper. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that. They're afraid that they're going to get emotionally hurt. So they just shut down and they say, I don't want to figure it out. You don't matter to me. So I'm just not going to explain myself and walk away. But I can't sleep as well at night because that's just not me, you know?
There's this movie that just came out recently, and I'm going to butcher the name, so I'm not even going to say the name, but it's about this technology guy that developed this machine, a woman machine. I don't know if you saw that movie, Ectoma, or I'm not sure what it was called, and one of his workers had to come out to his secret hideaway out in the wilderness, and the first thing he said to him is, I know I'm like the most famous person in the world, but let's just get past that right now. My name is so and so, and your name is so. Let's just be buddies.
Yeah,
so it's almost kind of like you have to do the same thing, because, you know, let's just get past it. I'm wearing this dress. Let's just get past that. I'm about to go on the runway, or I'm about to go sit down to a fine dinner.
Or tattoos. You know, that's a great example. People see tattoos and they automatically have this ideology that I'm a criminal or, you know, I mean, no matter what my tattoos are, nothing is really that offensive. I have, for example, like angel wings on my back.
Yeah, I saw you fly once.
Right? And some people are still just so judgmental. And I feel like you can either explain or you can just, like you said, put it aside. And if they're open-minded enough, they will want to get to know who you are past that, you know?
You know, we never judge the Indians, and they put war paint on their faces every day, and that's my face.
Oh, how times have changed, you know?
Right?
Seriously. Society is definitely, as far as women go, I think that it's really heartbreaking that there are so many women that are constantly told not to love themselves in a world, you know, the world wants us to change. Conformity in society is huge. And if you can step away from that and learn more about who you are than what the world wants you to be, I think it's huge. It makes a big difference. If you look at
There's some sort of missed signal happening somewhere at some age or something, because I hear that, but I'm a man, so I don't see that. So I just don't know it when I'm not a woman either, so I can't get the emotions you see. So I don't know what triggers that, but at one point it gets triggered, and then at one point it has to be untriggered. And
absolutely. Well, you kind of have to look at everything cumulatively that you've been taught, not just by your friends and family, but by society, you know? And then you kind of have to unteach yourself everything that it taught you and go back to who you're supposed to be.
Right.
You know what I mean? If we constantly conform to everything else, we're losing ourselves. And being original and being yourself is such a beautiful thing. If you can find that and be proud of it, that's what it's all about. It really is.
Right. Next thing is relationships. I mean, we find a
huge.
lot of people in, you know, in a lot of beautiful women tend to have relationships that aren't so successful because of their insecurities or so on and so forth, or they become abusive and stuff like that. And I know you've had experience like that in your life, unfortunately. And I have too myself, and, you know, but we have choices.
Right.
We have choices we can make to say no or say yes or continue or go forward or abuse ourselves more.
Exactly.
I know you've made some big overcome, you know, you've met a beautiful man now that appreciates you and continues tells you that. And tell us, how can a woman transform from being in a relationship that's not where they know they shouldn't be, but to one that they should be in?
Well, I think that being healthy is always...
This is big. This is right here. This is a big part of our podcast. So you better nail it.
It's key. So here's the thing. I feel like so many relationships are unhealthy, and so often we don't want to admit it. Right. It's kind of like we subconsciously know, or maybe we consciously know, and we just don't want to deal with the emotion that comes with doing what's right for yourself. So remembering that healthy relationships are key is huge. Getting yourself away from any toxicity, whether it's your relationship or bad friends or family, whoever it is, you know what I mean? You kind of have to be willing to separate yourself from it and not worry about it so much.
Right.
I've been in a multitude of unhealthy relationships. I can't even tell you how many.
Right.
I've gone from physical abuse to mental and emotional abuse, verbal abuse. I mean, you could probably name them all. And I have the most amazing man in the world now. I thank God for him every day. He completely showed me a different world. He showed me not just about how men are supposed to treat women, but what I deserve. And more so, he helped me love myself. I used to be so insecure and so just not confident. And him loving me made me really appreciate relationships, healthy relationships, because I never had one before. I had never recognized it. And I was in all these bad relationships and I didn't know myself because I was too preoccupied with that stuff and judging myself that I had no idea what it was like. Completely clueless. And then here comes this amazing man that changes everything for me.
So do you think that the women that continue to get caught in those relationships are just stuck with that fishnet? In other words, when they become single, let me explain how I'm doing this here. Mm-hmm. So, you know, the bad boy, so to speak, is really good at, you know, attracting women and capturing them, so to speak, because he's got a big fishnet. He's very demanding and never goes away until he gets you, so to speak. And you're caught in that fishnet. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's something you have to kind of look beyond that fishnet, you know.
You do.
You know.
It's one of those things also, if you can identify what's unhealthy about it and you can really understand that, you can navigate away from it. It's so much about finding yourself though, because you don't know what you want. And healthy, everybody wants to be healthy. I think subconsciously we all do, but we don't know how to attain it. You might want it, but you don't know how how to go about getting it. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can't just walk down the street and find a great man and hope that, it'll all work out because that's who you are. And that goes hand in hand with the kindness thing as well. Just because I'm nice to everyone doesn't mean they're always going to be nice to me.
Right.
And that becomes emotional. That's where that shutdown happens for so many people. And I'm just, at the end of the day, I can't do that. I can't just shut down and say, well, it's okay that you don't like it. Because then you have things like more emotion. You've got rumors, and it just grows and perpetuates from there. But if you can kind of knock it out in your own mind, it completely diminishes it for everyone.
I try to develop relationships, both in relationship situations and friends, that I try to look beyond what is occurring now to like, okay, how can I make this relationship a relationship that lasts forever, regardless of our closer communication or less communication? How's it gonna look after? So I always try to plant the seed of the closeness, the agreements between us, that even if it it ends, how can it work thereafter? And
right.
a lot of relationships, which is kind of building a friendship and trust thing in there.
Absolutely, that's a foundation.
Let's face it, not a relationship works anymore. You move on, we
true.
grow on, we try different things, and we don't go to the grocery store and we eat the same orange juice every day. We want soda one day, we want this. So the natural thing of human being is we want change.
Absolutely.
And our past, I feel, this is my own opinion, it may not be right, but in our past, we've been kind of told that you have to stay in this situation, and now it's no longer that way. So
society's changed so much. Yeah, it's true.
But you found something that works with you.
I do. I did.
And pushes your buttons in the right way, not the wrong way.
Well, absolutely. That's the thing. You kind of have to have that balance.
Right.
As far as relationships go, my relationship now has taught me 3 huge things. Number 1, laughing every day is essential.
Right.
It's just something it's mandatory. You know what I mean? He keeps me laughing, and he keeps me that way.
Well, maybe he's able to be orange juice one day and Coke the next day.
Absolutely.
And Pepsi the next day. And
Absolutely.
maybe a nice vodka drink the next day. So he has a lot of dynamic to him.
Definitely.
So, and that's that's a that's a man's job to be able to have that diversity, and a woman's.
Absolutely. So it has to be a two-way
different
street.
Flavor, yeah.
You always have to appreciate the similarities, and you have to respect the differences.
Yep.
As long as you can remember those 3 things, you've got a great foundation. You've got friendship, and you know how to deal with that balance, because no relationship is perfect.
Right.
You're going to upset each other. You're going to get on each other's nerves. It's not always going to be cloud 9, but it really is just deciphering those moments where you want to be kind of upset, but then you say, you know what, you're different from me, and that's okay. And we can get past it. Agree to disagree, whatever you've got to do, but move on. Always keep it moving.
So going forward, what kind of goals do you have going for Krystle Rains? Are you going to really go big with the nursing? Are you going to go really maybe kind of be taken in a different direction with the modeling? Where do you go from here with your life? You've just accomplished. I heard your story about how you had a difficult time even getting your nursing degree.
I did.
You had to go through hoops and jump over things just to get that. And then obviously with modeling, it's been work as well, and bringing up a beautiful daughter, and all these things. Where do you go from here?
Well, timing is everything. I feel like everything happens for a reason. As far as nursing goes, it's something that I'm always going to do.
Yep.
That will never not be part of me or my goals. I'm hoping to continue working in an urgent care clinic and just to keep growing from there. I've always enjoyed stuff like hospice and just certain areas. Cardiology is another huge interest of mine, but it's just developing the time and the resume and everything else getting there. So I think that I'll continue to do that no matter what.
Right.
Modeling is just how it goes,
Just letting it roll.
Yeah, I'm just going with the punches and being myself. And I think that that's something that Andre values about me too, is that I'm not the stuck-up girl that everyone expects me to be.
Right.
So it's kind of nice to be by his side and have somebody personable that can see me beyond what I do,
right.
As far as my daughter goes, I'm going to keep raising her and keep loving her. She's the most amazing thing that's ever happened to me. Relationship-wise, I hope I get married someday. I hope that I have another baby or 2, and buy a house and all that
fun
adult
stuff.
Life jazz. Yeah.
The princess land.
Yeah.
The
Someday.
Land of the princess.
Yeah. But I've definitely got a lot of long-term goals. I have a huge bucket list too of some wild things that I want to do. So I think that it'll be exciting.
So we got 2 final questions before we go. And one of them is, you know, a lot of people that overcome a lot of things, they tend to have different rituals they do maybe in the morning. And we've been asking a lot of our guests, like, is there anything that you do on a daily basis that kind of helps you keep in check with sharing kindness, sharing happiness, and being that special person that you are? Can you give any feedback on that? Do you have a ritual that you do every day that kind of you can share? Maybe somebody can try?
I do. A good friend of mine actually gave me a piece of advice about a year ago. And I told her, I said, you know what, I'm kind of having a hard time getting out of bed in the morning. I feel kind of like I'm dragging a little bit. And she said, set your alarm and go ahead and put it across the room from you, which forces you to get up and turn it off.
I like that ritual.
Right. But immediately after you put your alarm off or turn it off, put your phone down. Don't immediately check social media, stuff like that, because you kind of get wrapped up in it in the beginning of the day.
Right.
And say you see something negative. Maybe it's subconscious. It might stick with you for the rest of the day, you know, and that takes a toll whether people realize it or not. And another piece of advice is drinking water first thing when you wake up.
I do that.
It sounds silly, but it makes a huge difference in my entire day. The way I feel, the way I function, everything. And I've always struggled with like drinking enough water. I should drink more water. So getting in the habit,
half your weight in ounces.
There you go. After getting the habit of it though, I see what a big difference it makes. And that's a huge, huge thing that I would suggest to anybody.
Awesome. And I was also told that, you know, morning power walks are really good. And especially when, before the sun comes up, it's like a certain, I don't know if energy the earth gives off before the sun comes off. And I've heard it all, but I definitely have heard the two that you've said here today. Drinking water, definitely not checking the social media, because that totally gets you off in the wrong direction.
Yeah,
fast.
or it's a waste of time. You know what I mean? You can be laying there
yeah.
looking through stuff and then you're like, shoot, I was supposed to be up 20 minutes ago. Like, what is this? Got text messages, like, you know, kind of just leave the stuff that isn't necessary.
Right.
It's there for fun, not for function.
So no meditation or anything like that at all? Or?
You know, I'm actually just starting to do yoga. Okay. I tried it last week for the first time. I loved it. It's just something that I haven't gotten into a habit of, but I'm sure that'll become part of my ritual when I get there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, last question is there any parting advice you want to give anybody that's going through a struggle with what you've had to face in your life as far as, you know, being, let's say, misinterpreted?
The best piece of advice I guess I would have would be to focus more on yourself than your surroundings. I used to walk into a room and constantly think, what are they going to think of me? And now I walk into a room and I think, what am I going to think of them? You kind of just have to...
That's a really good one.
You kind of just have to shift your way of thinking and always be proud of yourself. Forget what the world taught you. Forget what everyone taught you. Teach yourself. Explore yourself and be okay with it, you know? Don't be as insecure as people tell you to be.
Right. Well, you live with yourself every single day. You get up with yourself, you take a shower with yourself, you walk down the street with yourself, you go to podcasts with yourself. So you might as well enjoy them, right?
Exactly.
Be proud of them.
Absolutely.
Him or her, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
100%. Got to be proud of yourself.
Krystle, thank you so much for coming on our show.
And thank you for having me.
Yeah, I think it's been a very good learning lesson for all of us, and hopefully the listeners as well will get something out of this. If somebody wanted to reach out to you and talk to you or share a story with you or maybe get some feedback from you on their situation, would you want to
Absolutely.
How can they find you? Your Facebook page?
They can find me on Facebook. They can find me on Instagram. Any kind of contact, you know, you're welcome to contact me. And I would love that because I know that it actually took Andre to empower me, and women usually empower women. So I would love to do that. If anybody ever wanted to talk, I would love to be there.
Okay. Spell out your name, I guess, for them.
Yeah.
On Facebook, type in...
It's Krystle, and my last name is Rains, Rains.
Awesome. Well, you heard Krystle Rains here today on the 5 Minute Bark. We are so excited she came on here today, and I think she's excited too.
Definitely.
We all had a new breakthrough here today. We're going outside our box. So
seriously.
Again, everybody, thank you for listening, and we really mean it means a lot to us to have you out there listening. And I know Krystle was a listener before, and just a thank you to everybody out there. And we're gonna cut it right here. So we'll talk to our next guest on our next episode. But today it was Krystle Rains, and she shared a lot with us. Thank you again, Krystle.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.